Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing? I feel like we have our Sunday school back together. We have Padumna, Charlie, Jamuna. Well, you two weren't here yet. And Toshan. We're just missing. What? I said Padumna. Yeah. We're just missing Krishna Das. So we would meet in this room on Sundays, and then we would learn verses, right? Do you all remember any of the verses we learned? No. You didn't practice? And then we would do kirtan together. We'd all play the musical instruments, and then we would recite Krishna book, and we would act it out. Remember? Who usually played Krishna? I don't remember. Is it you, Toshan?
I don't know.
We have a nice picture of all the kids in front of the Panchatattva's. All right, so tonight we want to give a short presentation, and then we'll open it up to question and answer. So we thank you for your kind attention, and I know it's really hot outside, so thank you for coming tonight. I know I'm sweating too, so thank you all for coming.
There's somebody, the kirtan's so good that he took the room too much.
Yeah, thank you for the beautiful chanting. Everybody was chanting so nice. The kirtan yagya was very, very nice. So if you all bear with us with the heat, thank you all so much for being here again. So we'll have a short presentation, then we'll open it up to questions. So maybe some of you can think of some questions. Toshan, Charlie. I'm really glad you came, Charlie. Thanks for being here. And my wife, Krishna and Jeevani. So thank you for being here. So maybe you can think of some questions you can ask so we can keep this conversation going. So tonight I wanted to speak about the most valuable diamond of Krishna consciousness. And we have a reading group on Tuesdays. We have some of our members here. And we've been reading some of the pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. And we're just in a part where Prabhupada, they met the Beatles in London. The devotees met the Beatles in London. And then they recorded the Hare Krishna album. And so this album went to the top of the charts in Britain. And it was the top of the charts for 30 weeks, 30 straight weeks. And it was like in the top 10 for even longer than that. And Srila Prabhupada and the devotees are staying at the estate of John Lennon. Do any of you younger people know who the Beatles are? Torsten, do you know who the Beatles are?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
When the Hare Krishna and the Christmas.
Okay.
6 legs hard kill.
So the devotees were making some speaking engagements for Prabhupada. And in one such event, some lady, she asked Prabhupada, she said, there's so many people in London, right? We just read this. There's so many people in London. Why are there so few people here if what you're giving is so valuable? And so Srila Prabhupada, he said, when you're selling diamonds, there's very few customers because they're so valuable, most people can't afford them or they're not willing to spend the money. So there's very few customers. So the most valuable diamond in existence is Krishna consciousness. And there's different opulences: beauty, strength, fame, knowledge, wealth, and renunciation. So everybody's seeking wealth, because when you have wealth, then you can also often have fame and adoration, distinction. You can have some of the other opulences come with wealth. So if Krishna consciousness or spiritual life, we can broaden it to spiritual life. Right? It's a pursuit of God consciousness, pursuit of connecting with God. If it's the most valuable diamond in existence, you have one store, the most valuable diamond, and we actually have the currency to purchase it. Then how come so few people are shopping for these diamonds? What are some of your thoughts?
They don't know about the diamond.
You don't know about it?
We've settled for pieces of glass.
That's, yes.
They've all been bought, they haven't been placed in the right order.
Well, maybe they
Like,
haven't been,
in order, you know?
maybe they haven't been displayed. Maybe we haven't,
Right,
maybe we don't know where the shop is.
right,
the
and maybe
diamonds.
in the as furnishings.
Yeah.
And like taking account acoustics, like their electricity conducting metals and frequency emitting minerals, right? They even say, like these are the ones where Tupac rises like Coachella out of the grave, because, you know, you gotta be like have power, our halo in our wings.
Yeah, so there's different types of diamonds, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Tupac's diamonds, or
Yeah, I think they're all the same kind of diamonds, and just like put them in the right spot. And if you're wearing them on your neck, it doesn't, you know, when you're walking around, I think they have to be stationary diamonds. Yeah.
So, right. So like that's the what the spiritual teachers are giving us. They're giving us these most valuable diamonds, right? And so one reason that we don't accept this diamond is, like Thomas said, well, we may not know about it, is that there's 5 different factors of action. So there's 5 factors of action discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. So one of these factors is us, we're the soul. So the soul, we're the active principle in the body. Without the soul, the body is dead. Without the soul, there's no consciousness in the body. So that's one factor of action is the soul. And then you have the place of action. Okay, so you have the body and you have the environment. So you have the place of action. So you have the soul, the place of action, and the senses. How many senses do we have?
6.
No. We have more than 6 senses.
10. 12.
No.
So in the Vedas, it's mentioned that we have knowledge receiving senses. So we know about these senses, right? We always know, right? Ability to hear, ability to see, to taste, to touch. And then they also describe active senses, like the arms and legs. Okay, so the arms and legs are like active senses. And then you have the mind is also sometimes called the 6th sense. So in that sense, the mind is a 6th sense. So these different senses, so these are one of the factors of action. Okay. So you have the soul, and then we have God. So God's said to be the one who gives us the ability to do anything. Right? So what is the final factor of action?
God.
The final factor of action is God. He gives the sanction. But the pivotal point is there's different types of endeavors. So the reason that we don't accept this most valuable diamond, Krishna consciousness, is because we have different types of endeavors. We're seeking other gems. But these gems, like Thomas also said, they can be described like broken glass because they're temporary. So there's a beautiful verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says this beautiful verse. Actually, he talks about the rarity of pure love of God. Thank you very much. Thank you. And it was really hot. Thank you. He talks about the rarity of Krishna consciousness, how rare it is. So one aspect of the most valuable diamond is rare. It's rare. So he says that there's so many people in society that are totally disregarding God. Okay? So these are people that would be what we would call outside the Vedic paradigm. So there's a Dharmantu Shakshat Bhagavat Pranitan. So society, the laws, the rules that we abide by ultimately are given by God. Right? President Trump, he may give rules. President Trump may give rules. Maybe the Congress gives rules. But ultimately, Dharmantu Shakshat Bhagavat Pranitan is given by God. Okay, so he said there's so many people who just totally disregard these rules of God. So they're totally outside. And then you have some people from that group who actually follow the rules of God. Okay, So these are the followers of the Vedas. Many of those people that perform worship of God, they're seeking material benefits. They're seeking wealth, fame, profit, adoration. So you have, and then out of so many, thousands of these people who are approaching God for this reason, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says there may be one wise man. Maybe one wise man. And that wise man realizes that everything in this world is temporary. And Krishna says, Mamu peti punarjanma dukhalayam shashvatam. So this world is temporary and filled with suffering. So they realize that. Now Krishna consciousness, thank you, Prabhu. Thanks. In Krishna consciousness, there's so many ways that we break down suffering. It's interesting. Have you noticed that? Even in Buddhism, there's so many ways that we categorize suffering because there's so much of it. There's one categorization called the 6 whips. You heard the 6 whips? So we're constantly getting whipped. So the 6 whips are hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, birth, and death. So these are the six whips. Are constant. So the wise man, so you have the non-Aryans. This is the original use of the word Aryan. You're the ones that are totally not following God's way at all. They may not even know God's way. And then you have those that are following. Some that are following. And then, but those that are following, they're seeking God for some material benefit. And then you have one wise man. And he realizes that this is a place of birth, death, disease, and old age. The 6 whips. The miseries of the body, mind, other living entities, and natural disaster. So Buddhism has other ways to describe suffering. Okay. But even out of these wise men, you may have thousands of these wise men. There's maybe one that will take to pure devotional service. This is a rarity of pure devotional service. Okay. And now Sri Chaitanya gives us a beautiful verse. Krishna Bhakti Nishkama Attaiva Shanti Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakalaya Shanta. Now he talks about the characteristic of those people that take to Krishna consciousness. And it's really amazing. Because you have these people coming to God for material enjoyment. Bhukti. Bhukti means we're trying to enjoy materially. Bhukti, mukti. So we have different goals. Okay, we're seeking different gems. Besides the most valuable diamond of Krishna consciousness, we're seeking different gems. Okay, so bhukti, we're seeking material enjoyment. We want to gain possessions. We want fancy cars, fancy clothes, big house. We want to go on lots of vacations. Bhukti, mukti. We realize the wise man seeking liberation. Realizing this is a place of suffering, so seeking liberation. Bhukti, mukti. There's different types of liberation even. Do any of you, not Kirtaneshwar, I know you know. Any of you know the 5 types of liberation?
Sarupya?
Yes, that's one. What does that mean in English?
I think Sarupya is obtaining a form.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yep. That's one. Anybody know any other ones?
To attain the same planet?
Yes. Salokya. So you have Sarupya, Salokya, Sayuja. Sayuja, what's Sayuja?
Merging the existence of the word.
Yeah, merging, like impersonal liberation. We're liberation from suffering, but we don't have a personal connection with God. So we have Salokya, same planet, Svarupya, the same form. Sayuja, we merge into the Brahman effulgence of God. What's the other 2? Sharshti.
Sharshti is the same opulence.
Same opulence. Hey, you weren't allowed.
We'll be here forever.
Okay, the last one, Samipya. Yeah. So we have to have personal association with the Lord. That's wonderful. Actually, devotees will accept the same planet as the Lord. The devotees are willing to go to the same planet as the Lord. They're willing to have the same form as the Lord and the same opulence of the Lord and to have direct association with the Lord. But they're never willing to have impersonal liberation. Why? Because then we lose sight of the most beautiful person in existence. Did you know that God's a person and he's the most beautiful person in existence? All beauty comes from this person. All beautiful, opulent, and glorious creations spring from one spark of my splendor. So they'll never accept Sayuja Mukti because you'll lose sight of our most beautiful friend, Krishna. Okay, so the devotees will never accept that. However, bhakti is even beyond seeking liberation, any type of liberation. Bhukti Mukti Siddhi, because we're still, even with Mukti, we're still desiring something from God. Siddhi, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi. Siddhi means we want some mystical power. Okay, so Siddhi, we want mystic, there's different mystics who are able to do things. Like we see so many mystical people around the world. It's said that some of them can, there's one called Prapti Siddhi, and a great mystic yogi, they can meditate and they can pull something from a different part of the world. This takes like great advancement in spiritual life and many years of deep absorption in the yoga practice. But some spiritualists, they want these type of siddhis. They might want the ability to fly to another planet, that type of thing. So, but what Lord Chaitanya says, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami, that they're all these aspirations. In other words, seeking these other gems besides the most precious and most valuable diamond. They're all seeking something for themselves, right? Would you agree? Even if you're seeking to go to the planet of Krishna, you're still seeking something for yourself. Isn't that true? If you want to have the same opulence of God, you're still seeking something for yourself. So he says, Attaiva Shanta, he says, Sakalaya Shanta. He says, all those who are seeking some benefit, all of them are not peaceful. All of them are not peaceful. Krishna Bhakti Nishkama Attaiva Shanta. He says, but those who are in Krishna consciousness, they're the only peaceful group. They're the only one because we rely on Krishna. We don't rely on what's going on, either past or present or the future. The nature of the intelligence is to plan. And so constantly we're hankering for something we don't have. Okay? And we're lamenting for something we've lost. So this is the nature of the materialistic intelligence. Okay? So we're never peaceful because we're always thinking, I lost something and I want to gain something. And the only ones that can find what we call inner happiness, inner peace, is those that are simply wanting to serve Krishna, no matter what my situation is, no matter how much money I have. They're just wanting to serve Krishna. Attaiva Shanta, therefore they're peaceful. They're nishkama, they don't have any desire for themselves. This is the perfection of spiritual life. This is the most perfect, valuable diamond. Where whatever comes, Krishna. Like Job says in the Old Testament, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away, blessed be the name of the Lord. This is a state of pure Krishna consciousness. And I'm just relying on you. There's six symptoms of surrender to Krishna. There's accepting what's favorable. Accepting what's favorable. So many different situations in our life change, right? Like you're in college now, right, Pradumna? Okay, so it's a different situation for you. Before you were living at the temple and you were going to school, and you're still living at the temple, right?
Yeah.
But now your classes are probably harder, right? Okay. So the situations change. But even in that changed situation, you can accept what's favorable for your Krishna consciousness, right? You can still choose the group of friends that you want to associate with. Isn't that true? You can still give up negative association or those people that will take you away from your goal. Okay, you may be, what is your major? Aerospace? Aerospace engineering? Okay, so at some point in your life, you may be an aerospace engineer. So even though that situation changed, it doesn't have to affect your consciousness, right? I think Kirtaneshwara posted a quote from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It says, in the course of your daily activities, by chanting the names of Krishna, chanting the names of God, we can attain all perfection. Okay, isn't that beautiful? So that's the nature of Nishkama devotee. The haves and have-nots. All right, talk about the haves and have-nots of society. The socio-economic distinctions. But in Krishna consciousness, sometimes we have and sometimes we don't have. But for a devotee, we feel like that's up to Krishna. If I have money, if I don't have money. Do you remember Sudama Brahmana? So first he didn't have anything, but he was in love with Krishna. So his wife asked him to go request some opulence from Krishna. And all they had in their house, because they were so poor, was some chipped rice. So this chipped rice is considered to be a very low quality rice. Okay. So Sudama Brahmana, he was just excited to go see Krishna. That was his main motivation. He didn't want to ask Krishna for anything. So actually he was so excited to see Krishna. When he saw Krishna, he was embarrassed and he didn't want to give him the chipped rice. But Krishna said, what do you have there? I see you have something for me. And so he gave him the bag, very embarrassed. And then Krishna took some of the chipped rice and started eating it. So this is very nice, thank you. This is dear devotee. He took Sudama into this opulent palace in Dwarka, and he honored him. Sudama completely forgot to ask Krishna for what he came for. Says, my wife is suffering. We need some money. We need some help. He completely forgot. So then he went back home, and Krishna mystically had transformed his residence into a great mansion. So all of a sudden, his wife came out dressed in very luxurious garments, and his external situation changed. But for a devotee like Sudama Brahman, it doesn't change his consciousness. He was in love with Krishna either way. Before he gained the opulence and after he gained the opulence. And so, I want to pause here. Do we have any thoughts or questions or comments? Yes.
Just to kind of, I really love this part of the story that after he received all the opulence, he said, I'm opulent, but I'm going to give all my opulence for Krishna. So you can be opulent and have what you need, but use it in service of Krishna.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And that's the principle of yukta vairagya. Vairagya means renunciation, and yukta means utilize. So we're utilizing whatever we have. We can utilize. Krishna says Krishna is he wants our heart. Bhavagrahi Janardana. He's simply accepting our heart. That's it. No matter what we have, he's just accepting that. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya priyachati tadaham bhakti paritam asnami payatatmana. If one offers me with love and devotion, a leaf, a flower. Can you offer a leaf? You can offer a leaf. A flower. Can you offer a flower to Krishna? Fruit. Water. He says, you give that with bhakti, I accept it. That's all. It's that simple. Krishna isn't concerned with the haves and the have-nots. The have-not is when we don't have love for Krishna. The have is when we do have love for Krishna. And that's how Krishna sees things. Yes.
I was going to say, it's such a powerful quote, this verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I was thinking it's so radical, really, because you think like that, the one who's just trying to get sense enjoyment, he's not happy. The one who's seeking salvation, liberation, he's not peaceful. The one who is seeking powers is not peaceful. The one who's seeking sense enjoyment is not peaceful. But the one who just wants to serve is peaceful, and that's the whole shift in consciousness. That the more we think about people should serve us, or I should be served, or I deserve respect, or whether it's our relationships, friendships, marriages, whatever it is, when we have that attitude, I'm gonna serve, then we're always happy. But if we don't have that attitude, we're never happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a life-changing.
Yeah, we were discussing this in our reading group. By the way, the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita that I was pointing earlier, if you want a copy of that, it's 7 volumes. And it's Prabhupada's whole biography. So it says, Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sama, Sarva Shastra Koi, Lava Matra, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. One moment's association with a lover of God, a pure devotee, you could attain perfection. Now you could or you could not, depending on our consciousness, right? Like I can have association with Kirtan Yogya Prabhu, and Kirtan Yogya Prabhu loves Krishna, but my heart is not receptive to that love. But if I open my heart up, I hear the chanting from a sincere place, then that can change my life. So this Lilamrita is the whole biography of Prabhupada. And Sasvarup Maharaj, we're reading this on Tuesday evenings. Sasvarup Maharaj, he did detailed interviews and he actually traveled to different places and did so much research. It's really beautiful. So I can get, if you want, I can get you a copy of this biography of Srila Prabhupada. I can have it ordered from the temple prices. So the temple doesn't make anything. We just want to share it with you. So I think I can get it for $40 or $50 for you. So I can get the whole set for you. Okay. So if you want it, you can just let me know, and I'll have a set ordered for you. Okay. And it's very beautiful. But in this regard, to what you were saying, Kirtaneshwar Prabhu, there's a story we were talking about, Madhavendra Puri. Okay, Madhavendra Puri, he was so much in love with Krishna that Krishna appeared to him in different dreams. And one such time, Krishna appeared in the dream of a pujari because he was traveling. Madhavendra Puri was traveling to get some supplies for the deity in Govardhan from Jagannath Puri. So there's a famous deity called Chira Chora Gopinath. And so this Krishna appeared in the dream of a pujari. And the pujari is the priest of the temple. And he says, I have left a pot of yogurt for my dear devotee, Madhavendra Puri. Because they would feed him then the sweet rice to the deities. And then they would take the sweet rice and then they would feed the devotees as prasadam. So Krishna appeared in a dream to the priest and said, I have stolen one of these pots of sweet rice for my dear devotee Madhavendra Puri. And so he went onto the altar and he found the sweet rice where the deity said he left the sweet rice. So then he found Madhavendra Puri and he gave him the sweet rice, and Madhavendra Puri was in great bliss with this personal exchange with Krishna. And Krishna stole the sweet rice. He was actually desiring to taste the sweet rice. That's why the deity stole it for him. Okay, so this was a very intimate, loving exchange. Now, when this happened to Madhavendra Puri, he immediately wanted to leave the place because all of a sudden he was going to be the most famous person in this whole community, in this whole city. So to your point, this is the nature of a devotee. Devotee doesn't want any fame. Devotee thinks if the attention is coming on me, then I'm going to start thinking that this thing's about me, and then all of a sudden it becomes material again. Right? So immediately, this is the nature of the devotee. I don't want any fame. So immediately he wanted to leave. So your point, this is unique because everybody is seeking this fame, right, in the world. This is very, very unique, you know. And so those who are nishkama means free from all material desires and simply want to serve God with love and devotion. Okay, so they found this most valuable diamond of Krishna consciousness, and they just want to. Now those who are they're peaceful. And Krishna says, those who are not connected in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence or a steady mind, without which there's no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Okay? So this is the recipe for peace and happiness. It's Krishna consciousness. And we have so many different stories of devotees who given up everything to serve Krishna. Sometimes devotees have a lot and they serve Krishna, or they give up everything, depending on their position of life. But the point is they give their heart to Krishna. And what's the other nature of a most valuable diamond? It costs, right? So the cost of that diamond is our love. We have a heart, and who are we going to give our heart to? That's the cost of the diamond. So the reason that there's so few customers for this most valuable diamond is that we're giving our heart to so many other things. We're forgetting about the primary relationship, the most important relationship in our life, where our heart belongs. Krishna says, Suridam Sarvabhutanam, I'm your best friend. I've been with you since time immemorial. I'm situated in your heart. Once you connect with me, you'll never lose that. Whatever the degree you attain to God consciousness and love of God, you'll never lose that. Every other investment you make in this world, you'll lose. You'll lose. It's not a good investment. We're investing our heart, and our heart's getting crushed. Every investment. Would you invest in something if you know you're going to lose it all? But we continue to do that. So we're Srila Prabhupada says, I'm an insignificant beggar. So we're begging Krishna, begging God, let me stop giving my heart to Maya, to illusion. Let me give my heart to you. And in that way, through this humble approach, one of the symptoms of surrender is humility. Through this humble approach, then in this way, we beg for this mercy so we can give our heart where it belongs, with our dearmost friend. And when we're connected with our dearmost friend, then we can love all living entities who are also part of God. It's all connected to God. As you treat, what did Jesus say? So you treat them lowest among, what is it, Thomas?
You kind of meant the least of these brothers and sisters. You kind of meant.
Yes. See, everyone is connected to God. We put our heart with Krishna, and we start seeing spiritually. Vidyavanaya Sampane, Brahman Gavi Hashtani. We see with equal vision. A learning gentle Brahmana, an elephant, a dog, a cow, dog eater. And we see that spiritual connection in everyone. And then we can make spiritual advancement. When we start to tread lightly in the world, tread gracefully, not committing offenses, being kind to all living entities, these are different symptoms of a devotee. Arjuna was soft-hearted. Now, Prabhupada said this is one of the reasons Arjuna could hear the Bhagavad Gita and why he was a great devotee, because he was soft-hearted. And we become soft-hearted, caring about others. Okay, I'd like to pause here. Do we have any?
Yes. Good question, Prabhu. That's very nice. So my question is we've spoken about Krishna, and that this service to Krishna is the most valuable gem. We also find that there's so many different religions in the world, different names of God, different deities, and so forth. And so I was wondering if you can explain why we're saying Krishna consciousness is beyond that, or why are there so many different religions, paths, spiritual practices? We can talk a little about that. And what's special about Krishna?
So, religion means to connect with God. That's the goal of religion. Okay, so now when we connect with somebody, when we love somebody, we want to know more about them. Okay, so you can come from a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, whatever your path to God is. In the Christian path, you can develop love for God. You can have purity. You can have sincere prayer, and you're following a pure devotee, who's Jesus Christ. Prabhupada said he's a pure devotee, somebody that gave up who surrendered his whole life to serve his Father. Okay, this was Jesus Christ. So, what's special about Krishna consciousness is that in the Vedic paradigm, ultimately knowledge is coming from God. And so the most comprehensive knowledge about God and about how to approach God is found in the Vedic literatures. Okay. These are the oldest literatures on spiritual life, and these give the most vivid details about God. We're supposed to love God. So the Vedas give us windows into the spiritual world. Prabhupada would sometimes say windows into the spiritual world. They give us a vision of this. They don't exhaustively give the details of God. That's impossible. Srila Prabhupada said you can write a newspaper about Krishna every moment. Okay, every single moment you can come up with a new newspaper. Okay, Gauranga Prem, get started. Every single moment. So God's activities, His glories, His beauty, His love is unlimited. But the Vedas directly come from the breath of God, the very beginning of existence. He impregnates Lord Brahma, the original living being in this universe, with the Vedic knowledge in his heart. And he's the first person in the parampara after Lord Krishna. And so this is coming down to us through what's called the parampara. Okay, what's the parampara for Dumna?
Chain of disciplic succession.
Right, what does that mean? Can you explain that?
Basically means from a teacher to a student, and then from that student to another student, continuing the line.
Yeah, so keeping it intact, giving it as it is, and accepting it in the right mood. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tadvidi pranipatena priprasnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnanayas tattvadarshinaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. We want to find a saint. We want to find somebody who loves God. This is the definition of a spiritual master. They may put on a different label, may call themselves Muslim, Christian. We want to find somebody who loves God. That's the point. Somebody can say they're a devotee of Krishna consciousness, but they could be far from God. On the other hand, somebody could be a Muslim but be close to God. We want to find the person that loves God the most. This is a spiritual master. Someone who knows the science of Krishna and lives it. Okay, this is a spiritual master. So try to learn the truth. Krishna says, try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively. Okay, because if we try to challenge the spiritual master, like what are the four words that block learning? Hare Krishna, Sean, good to see you. What are the four words that block learning? Any of you know?
I already know this.
Yes, I already know this. I already know that. So if we approach the guru like in a challenging mood or with arrogance, then we can't learn. We can't be receptive. This is also just in basic learning. And, if you want to learn anything, you approach it with humility. Try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. So we serve somebody saintly. In other words, someone who's endeavoring to be an ambassador of Krishna, who's endeavoring to serve God with his heart, mind, words, body. And we try to serve them because they're serving God. Okay, this is very endearing to us, to Krishna, when we serve his representative. Just like Jesus said, no one comes to the Father except through me. He says, I am the ambassador of the Father, so you have to come through me. So then Christians may say, well, you're a follower of Krishna consciousness. Then how can you come to the Father? Well, we're also disciples of Jesus. Everything Jesus taught was perfect. We try to live our lives following Jesus Christ. He is our guru. So yes.
I've been really interested. It's really enlightening what you're saying, because I've been really intrigued about the overlap between Christ and Krishna consciousness for a while. And I'm really just interested in what you're saying, because I feel like there's always been there's always more to God to learn about, and if it was all given to us in one sitting, we would implode pretty much. I find it really fascinating, the overlap between those two, particularly Jesus and Krishna consciousness, and
Well, thank you for being here. What was your name again?
I'm Zach.
Zach, nice to meet you, Zach. My name's Atula. So, how'd you hear about us?
Kirtan. So, actually, I've been coming here for years.
Oh,
I
okay.
actually used to live right around the corner, and then I moved back. I'm from the Washington D.C. area.
Oh,
so
okay.
Moved away for a while, then I just moved back recently.
Oh, nice. So you live pretty close to here.
I actually live on the east side.
Oh,
it's a
okay.
little
I live on the east side too.
Okay, so yeah, it's a little bit of a drive, but
Yeah. Well, it's nice to meet you.
you too.
Yeah, we'll have to connect more.
Yeah, because a lot of people seem to have this perception that like certain things are mutually exclusive, whereas it's like it's actually like all under the umbrella of mutually inclusive.
Exactly.
There's
So
no
there's-
difference in thinking at all.
Yeah, it's
So-
amazing so much overlap.
So
The
it's
roots of words, like linguistic wise, like Krishna.
Hare
Christian.
Krishna, hallelujah.
Yeah, exactly.
Christ and Krishna comes from the same roots.
And like you were saying, like by a different name.
Yeah.
As long as the motives and principle behind something, like by a different name, can still be traced back to the common essence of God. So
Yes. Yes.
It's
Yeah.
hard to define Christian mysticism,
Mhm.
but it does exist, especially in like the Course in Miracles. There's so much overlap with Christian.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I mean it's kind of been watered down a lot, unfortunately. I'm into Eastern Orthodoxy and things like that too, so that's sort of trace that back. There's a lot of overlap in a lot of ways.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to share with our Christian friends is to try to live according to Jesus' teachings and example.
Yeah.
And that's perfect.
When I was talking to Kirtan, he said he prays to Christ every day.
Yeah.
It's really intriguing to me. So always trying to learn more about the.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yes.
It's called
Sure.
Christ consciousness.
Yeah, it's
Krishna consciousness, Buddha consciousness,
right.
Christ consciousness.
Even the overlap between those things, and even the roots of the language involved, like Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness.
You know, the word Christ comes from Christo. Krishna is called connection.
Yeah, it's like every language evolves, right? So a word is one thing, but the essence is more powerful behind it, right?
Yeah. Did you grow up Christian?
Kind of. Most of my family has sort of. It was kind of like a default thing. Like I think it's sort of like a.
Just kind of like
Christian
cultural.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
like sort of, I've sort of had like more of a spiritual awakening recently in the past few months, just pursuing different things.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
Trying to find overlap between different ideologies and theologies.
Do you have a Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Once you read that, you'll be able to see that there is no contradiction.
Mhm.
It's just we're trying to. It's just like Jesus said. He said, "Love God with all your heart, your soul, your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." That is Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, the principles.
Okay, that's Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
Give this up and follow me. Follow God.
There's a lot of similarities in asceticism. Like removal of earthly desires into pursuit of God.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
yeah. I don't want to take too much of your time.
No, that was very nice. Thank you. Do you have any questions? Toshan, you have any questions? Charlie, you have any questions?
No,
Okay.
so far.
Yeah.
I guess I have one.
Yeah.
You said that Krishna followers will never accept the impersonal merging with God.
Hmm.
Why not?
Because the nature of love is very personal, and so devotees want to do some service, and devotees want to see the form of God. Okay, so like when you have Sayuja Mukti, you can gain a certain level of peace and happiness, but when you gain devotion to Krishna, that happiness is multiplied by like billions of times as described, like billions of times, because the love you can experience is much more vivid in the exchange and the experience. When you just simply merge into the impersonal Brahman, you experience freedom from the pain of being in the material body. Okay, there's pain being in this body, but what you're not getting that full connection. So what Krishna consciousness offers is the full package of love, the eternal dance. Okay, so the eternal dance of the soul and loving exchanges with God. So that's the reason. It limits that ability to connect.
There is no reciprocation in that merging.
It's very limited.
You are there, but like, for example, you have a big building with everything, but you are by yourself. You have nobody to enjoy.
You have a nice hammock on the beach, but you don't have your best friend with you.
But when we
Like that. Once you fall in love with the sweetness of Krishna, then you're gonna want him. You're gonna want Krishna there. I promise. Yeah, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
The analogy Gurudev gives, he says that most of us have probably already been there.
Mm.
Yeah. We're not satisfied. So
Right.
they come back because they want more.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That full love that we want, we can't experience it there. So
Like intergalactic, like travel human station, you know what I mean? When we do lay down the treasure in heaven, you know what I mean? Because people are like, oh yeah, well, like when you die, of course you can't bring your treasure with you. And I think what Jesus was explaining was literally like the layering of the stones, you know what I mean? And like you were saying, like you just want to see, you want to materialize. And I do astral travel, and I'm like, if I want to go to Lemuria or Pleiades, like we can do that, right, with some more of a body, like I call it the lava grid anyway.
it's okay. It's okay. Thank you. Do you want to do a little bit of chanting? You want to do a little chanting? Yeah. Okay, let's do a little chanting.
Let's see if I can get this out.
Oh my God, Prabhu, over your back.
It is one.
We could just open the doors, 'cause it's.
It's so much
It's
cooler
cooler
outside.
outside. Yeah. You step in
Oh, I
there.
wanted one thing I wanted to mention too is this chanting is a great opportunity to gain that beautiful, most perfect diamond of Krishna consciousness. This is a rare opportunity. This is chanting. But just by this process, like well, thank you very much.
Oh my God.
That is better.
In other ages, sometimes you have to meditate for 100,000 years in some other ages. But right now, just by chanting, you can attain the highest destination. So we have this short life and this ability to love God through the chanting.
While you're getting that, I have another interesting overlap happening. Anything else?
Yes.
So how a lot of certain religions that feel like devolved into like a law-abiding thing, where it's like you have to adhere to this law, whereas like Christ was advocating for relationship, like you're saying with Krishna as well, advocating for relationship, personal relationship.
Right. And then naturally, when you follow Krishna and you fall in love, naturally you're going to follow his laws because you want to live a life that's pleasing.
Yeah.
It becomes a natural thing rather than forced.
Right. It's like you're doing it out of your own goodness, like rather than trying to be like adhering to a certain law. I was also talking to your 10 about some interesting paradigms between reincarnation and the biblical description of hell.
Yeah.
How it's like we are subject to decay. The worm dies not on earth. We're still subject to like these the decay of like the earthly realm, the physical realm.
Exactly.
Like there's a lot of overlap with the description of hell.
Yeah, totally.
Literature. So.
Yeah, there is different hellish and heavenly planets. Hopefully, the spiritual world never has any decay. So the time factor doesn't have that effect that it has.
Exactly.
Here.
Once you have that relationship with God, you go back and you remove all that physical decay.
I
Exactly.
think the cross is almost like a cross of
Thank you.
space-time. Like once you grab onto the cross, you're in like a covenant beyond space-time. I see the Bible and these books change, right? Because you change history as you change the present. You change the acoustics and the way the light is happening. And so the history changes as you change the acoustics in the feng shui.
Yeah.
You want to chant Hare Krishna?
Yeah.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Everybody take your job now.
We will keep choosing.
We have a program on the east side on Saturday. So there's same format as food and.
Or do you know what?
Yeah, it's on Saturday. This Saturday, we're gonna be somewhere here.
Except for that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, we're out between like golf links and looking like some cross streets and Cove kind of.
Yeah, I'm up like Broadway and Allen, so not far.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks for playing. Probably hope you know. Thank you. Well, even during Prashad, for our next class.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd be happy to take your info too. What was the last thing you said? Sorry.
Oh, it's a house basically.
We gotta flip it around. Oh, do it?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. No, we're going to Govinda.
Oh, yeah, look, you got the latches.
Hard to do from in your lap.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this cover. Here we go. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Is this me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I was like,
Hey, nice. I appreciate it. You guys, I've been getting these things good. I feel like there's always more to it. We get these games. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, the cheese seems good.
Especially like, yeah, it's a bit of like, areas that be like, oh, I was there, or I was, everything's happening this way. Yeah, like I'm always trying to keep my fingers and have a relationship. Well, I just know there's a lot of. Yeah, and I feel that too.
Is that where you're gonna move? Yeah, I'm gonna move there. The cheapest place to live in the world, you mean? Oh, what do you like? Yeah, family. It's like a perfect, it's a great temperature there all the time.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's really great chemical. Who's that? They do.
How much was that one? You get a lot. They gave me this.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I was gonna shoot you an email.
Sure.
Sometimes we need to go.
Yeah. I just have like such a spiritual.
I had a question. When's the last time you've seen the bigger son? It's been a minute.
She comes every week to the class.
Do you want me to have it? Did you have one here?
We have one.
There's a lot of great.
Oh, just like randomly?
Just pray to Krishna, don't worry about it.
That's a wonderful. You just put a special spell around.
That's it, that's actually what the other day.
I only muted just because I'll let the basketball, and I'm like playing again. And I always play, there's no basketball hoops anymore, but it's still like.